The Williams family lived in a big, beautiful house at the edge of the city. It was a peaceful home filled with love and laughter until she came. Mr. Daniel Williams was a rich marine engineer who often traveled overseas for work. His wife, Margaret, stayed home to care for their 3 lovely children. Cherish, 14, Annabelle, 12, and Michaela, 8. Margaret was a loving mother, but with Daniel gone most of the time, things got tough for her, so she decided to hire a housemaid to help. That maid was Lillian, a young, very beautiful woman with a soft voice and a sweet smile. She seemed like the perfect helper. She was polite, hardworking, and the kids liked her right away. But Lillian wasn't just a regular maid. Behind her gentle look, she carried a dark secret. She came into their home with a mission. Daniel's younger brother, Gerald, had always been jealous of his success. He wanted Daniel's wealth for himself. Since Daniel only had daughters and no son to inherit his riches, Gerald saw a chance to ruin everything. He sent Lillian into the house as a trap to break the family from the inside. At first, it was little changes. Margaret, who used to be caring and loving, became cold. She stopped paying attention to her children. Every night, she struggled to sleep. Unknown to her, Lillian had hidden a small broomstick inside her pillow, something cursed with dark magic. It slowly changed Margaret's feelings, making her angry and distant. One evening, Daniel returned home from a long trip. He was excited to see his family, but instead of hugs and smiles, Margaret just stared at him. "You're back," she said without emotion, still sitting in her chair. Daniel looked confused. "That's all I get." Margaret rolled her eyes. "I've had too much to deal with." The kids ran up to hug their dad, but their mother didn't even smile. It hurt Daniel deeply. This wasn't the woman he married. "Margaret, what's going on?" "Nothing," she snapped and walked away. Her plan was working. As days went by, the house changed. There were arguments over little things. Margaret started blaming Daniel for caring more about his job than his family. The children began walking on eggshells around their mother, feeling like she didn't love them anymore. Daniel didn't know what to do. The peaceful home he left had become a place full of tension and sadness. One night, he spoke quietly to his eldest daughter. "Has anything strange been happening here?" Cherish looked around carefully before whispering. "It's the maid, Dad. Lillian. Since she came, Mom hasn't been herself. She hardly talks to us. She listens to Lillian more than anyone else." Daniel's mind was racing. How could a simple maid have so much control over his wife? It didn't make sense. Then something happened that changed everything. One evening, Daniel heard a soft whispering sound. He followed it and peeked into Margaret's bedroom. He froze. Lillian was standing beside his sleeping wife, her lips moving as if she was casting a spell. In her hand, she held a small piece of broomstick, twisted and strange-looking. Daniel's body went cold. He had unknowingly brought danger into his own home, but now he had to fight back before it was too late. Daniel stood at the doorway, his heart beating fast. He watched Lillian whispering in a low voice, still holding the broomstick. Sweat formed on his forehead. He had never believed in dark powers before, but what he saw now was real. He gathered courage and stepped inside. "What are you doing?" Lillian turned around quickly, acting surprised. Her eyes looked innocent again, hiding her true intentions. "Sir? I was just checking on Madam. She hasn't been feeling well." Daniel looked at Margaret, who lay there very still. He had a strong feeling Lillian was lying. Something evil was happening here. But he knew he had to be careful. Get out, he said firmly, his voice low and serious. Lillian stood there for a moment, then slowly put the straw in her pocket. Of course, sir. She lowered her head and left the room, but not before giving him a knowing smile. The next morning, Daniel knew he had to act. He had to break the spell that was holding his wife. He gathered his children in the study and spoke in a quiet voice. We have to stop this, he said. Lillian isn't who she says she is. Cherish nodded. I knew it, Dad. I've seen her do strange things when she thinks no one's looking. Annabelle shivered. She talks to herself at night, and Mom listens to everything she says, like she's under a spell. Little Michaela hugged her father's arm. Daddy, can we help Mommy? Daniel gently touched her hair, a serious look in his eyes. Yes, baby, but we have to be smart. That night, Daniel checked under Margaret's pillow. His heart jumped when he found the same twisted broomstick. He held it up to the candlelight, staring at the strange marks on it. Then he heard a cold voice behind him. Looking for something, sir? Daniel turned quickly. Lillian was standing in the doorway. The flickering candlelight made her face look scary. I know what you're doing, Daniel said. You've done something to my wife. Lillian smiled slightly. Have I? Or maybe you never really knew her. Daniel's hands clenched in anger. Get out of my house. Lillian took a step closer and said in a quiet, dangerous voice, I can't leave, sir. I have a mission to finish. Before Daniel could move, the door slammed shut behind him by itself. Lillian grinned darkly. And you, sir, are in my way. Daniel stood ready as the air felt heavy and strange. Lillian's eyes sparkled with evil as she walked closer. You're clever, Mr. Williams, she said softly, but you're too late. Daniel held the broomstick tightly. He had spent the day learning how to break the curse. He was ready. Suddenly someone knocked on the door. Dad, are you okay? Cherish shouted from outside. Daniel breathed deeply. It was time to fight back. Earlier that day, Daniel had called a priest for help, and right at that moment, the priest arrived at the house. As soon as he stepped inside, Lillian screamed loudly and backed away, her eyes filled with rage. You brought someone from outside, she shouted. This isn't just my problem, Daniel said. You tried to destroy my family. The priest wasted no time. He held up a cross and began praying powerfully. Lillian screamed and held her head as the dark magic inside her started to break. Margaret, still under the curse, twisted in pain on the bed as the priest's words reached her. Daniel turned to his daughter. Cherish, bring the broomstick. Cherish quickly brought it. The priest sprinkled holy water on it, and in seconds it burned to ashes in her hands. At that same moment, Margaret gasped loudly, her eyes clearing up like someone waking from a long sleep. Daniel, what happened? She asked weakly. Before anyone could answer, Lillian screamed one last time and collapsed on the floor, unconscious. Moments later, the police arrived. Daniel had already called them after discovering Lillian's secrets. But there was more. Lillian wasn't acting alone. After being questioned, she finally confessed that Gerald, Daniel's own brother, had planned everything. Gerald had been secretly giving Lillian money, helping her learn dark magic so she could take control of Margaret and destroy Daniel's home. His goal was to push Daniel out of the way and steal everything he had. When Daniel confronted Gerald, he just laughed. You're lucky, brother. If you weren't so suspicious, my plan would have worked perfectly. But it wasn't luck. Daniel believed in his family, and that belief saved them all. After everything, Gerald and Lillian were arrested. Margaret slowly got better and became the loving mother she used to be. The family worked hard to heal and grow stronger together. One night, as Daniel tucked Michaela into bed, she looked up and asked, "Daddy, is the bad lady gone?" Daniel smiled and kissed her forehead. "Yes, baby. She's gone and she'll never come back." He turned off the light, closed the door and took a deep breath. The house was safe again. The shadow that once haunted them was gone, and now peace had finally returned. The end. Please subscribe for more.